If you've ever wanted to self-publish a book on Amazon KDP, in this video I'm going to show you behind the scenes exactly how I'm publishing my next book. And I'm also going to be doing a little experiment by testing out a research spreadsheet that I came across and seeing if my book is actually a good idea or not according to this template. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Taylor the Ecom RN, and I started self-publishing on Amazon KDP in 2023. I went on to have some decent success initially, and I started this channel to document my progress as I try to grow this business and hopefully encourage and inspire anyone else who might want to start self-publishing as well. Alright, so let's get into this video. We'll go over the book that I'm about to publish and the progress that I've made, and check out this research spreadsheet to see how my book compares to the competition. Alright, cool. So if you've been following along, you know that the book idea that I have next is actually combine two of the books that I previously published into one bundle book. So that means this isn't going to actually be two books independently printed and bound and then offered in like a little set, like a little bundled set. What I mean by a bundled book is I'm actually going to take the two manuscripts, the interior pages of these two books, combine them into one manuscript, make a new cover, and then publish that as a bundled book on Amazon KDP. So when someone purchases this quote unquote bundled book, they're just getting like a 2-for-1. It's two books in one. So if you remember, this was the cover front and back of one of the books, and this was the cover front and back of the other of the two books. And then I had the manuscripts here as well. So here's one of the manuscripts. You can see it's 68 pages in total length. And here is the second manuscript. You can see this is 79 pages in total length. And right off the bat, I noticed something when I went to have these manuscripts combined, and that is this is not the right format. In a very basic sense, you can see that page number 1 here is a blank page. That is wrong. You want the title page to be page number 1, and then you want page number 2 to be blank. Usually that's a good way to do it, because when you think about it, when you're looking at a book, when you first open the cover, that page that is now face up under the cover, that's page 1. If you turn that page over, the back side of that page is page 2. And then the next page is page 3. That's the next front facing page that's face up in the book. And so it's nice to have the title page, then a blank page, because nobody needs to see anything on the back of that page unless there's something specific you want to put there. And then you have the title page as page 3. But you can see in this example, someone's going to open up the cover of this book and just see a blank page. Then they have to turn that page over, and on the back of the page is the title page. So that was a mistake. I don't know how I missed that, but no worries. We're going to fix that in the upcoming manuscript. So the first step towards getting this done was I actually just used a free tool online to combine these two manuscripts. I just Googled something to help me combine these two PDFs, and there was a free website that did it, and this is what it came up with. You can see here, this is 147 pages, again, starting with that first blank page, because all this did was smash those two previous PDFs together. And there's a couple other things to note in here. As I scroll down through these pages, you can see that there are a bunch of blank pages in here. Pages 73 through 79 are all blank. So those need to get taken out. As I mentioned, I need to fix up the formatting of this front page and have that changed so that it actually shows something. As well as obviously, the table of contents is going to get changed because the page numbers are potentially going to change. So this was all something that I didn't want to have to do myself. So I actually went on Fiverr and I hired a freelancer to do this reformatting for me. For most of the work that I do for my books, I like to use Upwork. And I actually partnered with a relatively new freelancer on Upwork. You can see here, Seth. There's no affiliation or anything. I just thought I'd give him a chance. I think he's pretty new to the platform, and he did a fantastic job. So shout out to Seth. If any of you guys need manuscript help, he is great at what he does when it comes to editing and formatting. It was just super easy to work with him. He actually had this turned around for me in 24 hours. So super quick. I paid him $100, you can see here, to have this done, and he knocked it out of the park. So this is actually what he came up with here. You can see I've got a new title page. It is actually on page 1. We have a new title, because I needed a new title for this book, and that's going to come up in a moment when we go through the research spreadsheet. We're going to be looking at keywords, and the title is the main place where you factor in your keywords. I like to add a QR code here. This just goes to my website. And then as you can see, page 2 is blank. And then we have a new table of contents here for book 1, a table of contents for book 2, and then we're into the pages of the book here. And what you can notice right on top here is there's actually only 138 pages now. So we dropped that page count by deleting some of those unnecessary blank pages. So that's cool. So 138 pages looks like it will be the final length of the interior manuscript. So let's see exactly what I can anticipate to pay for my printing costs for having this book printed by Amazon. So if you just Google KDP royalties calculator here, this first link will actually take you to a free tool that Amazon provides for you to see how much you can anticipate making in royalties per book sale. Now you do need to fill this out accurately. My book in this case is going to be paperback. It's going to be black and white, and the trim size is going to be 8.5 by 11. Now we just found out the page count is going to be 138 pages, and I'm going to list this book at $19.99. So let's see what happens here. All right, so you can see for the Amazon.com marketplace, which is where I make the vast majority of my sales, you can see I'm going to make about $8.65 in royalties per copy sold. So that's pretty good. That's actually better than the royalties that I make on either of the two books sold separately. Those books net about $6.15, I believe, in royalties per copy sold. So if I'm able to create a good offer here, a nice cover, price this well, I could make a little bit more money this way. But to dive further into the research, let's actually check out this little research spreadsheet that I came across that I've made some tweaks to. And I actually just want to do an experiment to see kind of in real time if this research spreadsheet is actually helpful, because we're going to fill it out for this book, and then we'll come back after the book is published, and then we'll be able to see, did this research spreadsheet accurately predict how successful this book was going to be? All right, so here is this keyword research spreadsheet that I've been mentioning. We're going to zoom in a little bit so you guys can see this better, but I just wanted to give you the overview. We're going to be looking at traffic and demand, competition and visibility, and then we're going to get a final score here once we add up all of these columns. Okay, but for now, we're going to start here with traffic and demand. And the first thing to fill out here is the search volume for our particular keyword. So remember, the title of this new book is going to be Dosage Calculations Workbook Bundle for Nursing Students. So let's see what relevant keywords are associated with that title. So I've come over to my Helium 10 account. You can see here I'm in the Magnet Keyword Research tool, and I put in a pretty long string of keywords here: pharmacology dosage calculations for nursing school students. And I press Get Keywords, and then I further filtered by a word count of 3 or more keywords. And you can see down here, here are the results. I have them ranked by the search volume, and you can see dosage calculations for nursing students is searched about 1,600 times per month. Then we have dosage calculation workbook, which is 400 times a month. Then we have some what look like kind of really specific searches for a particular type of book, the 8th edition of someone's book, the 11th edition of some textbook. So we're going to skip those, and we're going to come down to nursing dosage calculations workbook for 280 searches per month. So I think it's pretty reasonable in this instance to add those up. So we have about 2,000 searches there, plus another 280. So we'll say we have 2,275 searches per month for this keyword. Just wanted to give you a heads up that if you want your own copy of this research spreadsheet, you can get one for free. The link is in the description. Okay, so back to the spreadsheet. I put in the keyword. We're going to put in here 2,275 for the search volume. I think that's going to come up red here because it's not over 3,000, which is what this spreadsheet is recommending. So we were kind of close, but we're not quite making the cut there. The next thing we're going to do is look at the other books that come up when we search this keyword in Amazon. And we're looking for books with less than 50,000 BSR. So this is a good cutoff. This means these books are selling about 150 copies per month, give or take. And we want these books to have 150 reviews or less. So let's see what comes up for this keyword. An easy way to do this is to just click this little pop out here on Helium 10. It'll search that keyword string into Amazon. And now remember, when you see sponsored here, these are advertisements. Those are not organic search results. So we're going to skip over those. And this one here on the right is the first organic search result. So we're looking for, does it have less than 150 reviews? It does. And it's under 50,000 BSR. So that one counts. Let's scroll down. We have these two books here, both under 50,000 BSR. Ooh, but they have tons of reviews, so those don't count, I guess. Then we have medical dosage calculations for dummies, which definitely counts here, but you can see it's just slightly over the BSR count, and it has way more than 150 reviews. This doesn't count. This is like a laminated reference guide. We have another book here with 124 and 58,000. Oh, it was so close to making the cut here, but just barely doesn't. If we scroll down, these books we already saw, because this is another column of sponsored books. You can see that here, that these are sponsored. And you can see here, Helium 10 is letting me know this is a sponsored product placement. So we scroll down, we have another ad, and we're back to some more organic search results down here. And we can already see this dropped off really quick. We've got flashcards. We have a book here that is at 480,000 BSR and 600 reviews. So that's definitely out. And here's another one, 200 reviews, 86. So that's close, but not quite. More flashcards. And none of these books are going to make the cut either. Same thing as we continue. You can see the trend here. As you can expect, the lower down this page, the worse the organic rank, the higher the BSR. So that's to be expected. So if we summarize this so far, we actually only have this one book here that meets the criteria. So that's not looking good. Let's go over here. We'll put a 1 into the research spreadsheet. All right, now we're looking for books that are quote unquote dead books. So these are books that have 25 or more reviews, but have a high BSR. So greater than 100,000 BSR. So let's see. I think this is already going to be quite high. Let's go over and check it out. Okay, so we're on that same search result page on Amazon. As we scroll down, these have nothing to do with it. And here would be the first quote unquote dead book. We've got a BSR of 480,000 and we've got quite a few reviews at 690. Just for reference, guys, a BSR of 100,000 means that you're making about one sale a day. So over 100,000 on your BSR is going to mean that you're selling less than one book a day. And it kind of drops off. It's hard for any of the calculators to really calculate how many sales are actually being made because the sales velocity is just so low. So that's why 100,000 on the BSR is the cutoff. Okay, and these books here, I know Kaplan, this is going to be for nursing. It says right here, so that counts. But we'll have to count that. That's dead book number 2. Yep, that would count as dead book number 3. And we have practice calculations for the nursing student. This would be dead book number 4. And this one would be dead book number 5. Going a little quicker now, if we come over here to this MedMath book, I'm guessing this is for nursing. Yes, it is. And it would also be dead book number 6, if I'm adding all that up correctly. Okay, we made it to the end of page 1, but I think we have enough data there to confidently say that this column here will be in the red, because if we put in 11 there, it's greater than 6. So it's not going to like that. Oof, so far we're 0 for 3 on this book idea. So let's come over to this section here, competition and visibility. This search results one, I'm not exactly sure what this spreadsheet had in mind. Amazon doesn't tell you the search results for a particular keyword. What I could do is go into Helium 10, and you can see here there's competing products here. So we could use that as a proxy. There's only 200 here for this keyword, 100 for this one, and down here we have 105. And there's going to be a ton of overlap there, but maybe we could say that there's 400 results for that. So we can put in 400 results. I think I'm not quite sure how accurate that is. And again, I'm not quite sure where they would get this number from, unless there's a different software that they're using that I'm not familiar with. Okay, do books match the search term? This is subjective, because what are we going to say there, right? On page 1, we already had flashcards. We already had, reference cheat sheets, things that weren't even books. But I suppose the books that were there did match. So I'm going to go ahead and put a Y for yes there. We get another green one. Pages of books. So let's see. You could almost say that there's not even one page of books, because there's already flashcards on the first page. But if we come back to Amazon here and we go to page 2, we can just double check, and you can see this is already going to be way off the charts. These ones are books, but they're not very relevant. Then we have this thing here, more flashcards, another reference sheet. Yeah, a clipboard, more flashcards. So, let's see. I mean, technically, if we scroll all the way down, there's 4 pages total in this search result. Oh no, there it is. There's more than 4 pages, but we're getting really like scraping the bottom of the barrel here. These, this just really doesn't really seem to be tracking what we actually want. This is pathophysiology, pharmacology, drug therapy. So when we come back over here, I think we could put in, a 2 max if we're already getting flashcards and stuff. I just don't think we could really say that there's that many pages of books being offered specifically for this keyword. All right. Authority figures. So let's see here. I do think there were a few authority figures. Let me go back and add those up. So if we come back to page 1 of the search result, authority figures are going to be things like, companies or brands or individual authors that you recognize, right? So like this whole series, something something made incredibly easy. This is a pretty big, I would say, authority figure in this space. So I'm going to count that as one. This is actually independently published. These books crush it, and these are self-published. So I'm not going to count those, even though they're doing really well. That isn't really necessarily an authority figure. Here we go. Here, this one, this is what I would think of as well. The For Dummies kind of series. People recognize this. I would say there's some authority associated with that brand. They've got books for quote unquote for dummies for every single subject you could imagine. So we'll count that. But other than that, I wouldn't say there are really anybody standing out. It's not like there is an authoritative person in this space really putting out, the end all be all book on dosage calculations for nursing students. So we'll say there's two. So we put a 2 in here and we get, it looks like a total. Let me zoom out here. Looks like 1, 2, 3 red columns, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 green columns. So put in 4. Oh, and we get a red. we get a red box here. So according to this research spreadsheet, this would actually be a bad idea for a book to publish. So we'll see. I'm going to go ahead and keep working on this book. I still need to get the cover design made. The designer that I work with for the covers hasn't got back to me yet. So that's the only updates I've had for the book, and I can't publish it until I get that cover. But after this book is published, it'd be really interesting to come back and see, okay, did this actually give us some good data, some good information, and a good way to double check whether the book idea was a good idea or not? If the book does terribly, then this would have been correct. This red box over here would mean that this was a bad idea to publish. And if the book does poorly, then this whole spreadsheet is vindicated. But if my book does well, then, maybe we need to come back and make some tweaks to this and see if it's actually worthwhile. All right, that's it for this video. I hope that was helpful. If it was, please leave a like. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. And remember, if you'd like your own copy of this research spreadsheet, you can get one for free. The link is in the description. As always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.